Welcome to Programming Rainbow. In this video, we will be continuing on the series of creating the binary clock superclock. So this is superclock. If you want to follow along with this video or the code inside of it, you can go to github.com, Programming Rainbow, and this will be called superclock Love2D. You can clone this repository, move inside of it, and the code for video 1 that we just finished will be the code that we are starting with in this video. If you are just starting with this video, you will want to delete all the code in the top level directory, all the Lua files, and you will want to copy the Lua files from video 1 into the top level directory. So that will be where we just ended off with video 1. This is video 2, so we will be starting with the code that we just finished off with. Okay, in this video, we are going to be adding color, and we will be adding the ability to show numbers instead of just the rectangles that we were showing in the last video. So I'd like to show what we left off with. On GitHub right now has the smaller clock. It will be smaller size than this one. This is the large size, but all I've done here is double the numbers up here. From 36 to 72, this will be 4 or 8, and this will be 18 or 36. So if the code that you're running into shows it smaller, you can just double all the numbers here. Or if you want to see the smaller version, we're going to make it later on where you can change the size of it. But for this video, I'm just going to leave it large so it's easy to see. I think I'm going to take the draw function, since it's going to start growing. I'm going to pull it out of here. So it's down here, right here. It's not very big right now. It's like 20 or 30 lines. I'm going to pull this out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the whole function. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to require it like I did with the module. Let me show you the module here. In main, how we're requiring clock. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to make the function that I'm going to put into a separate module. I'm going to bring it straight in as a method of the clock. So I'm going to do it this way. It's not going to be local or anything. I'm going to say clock, because clock is already defined as a local table. This is a method inside of it. So I'm going to say clock, and I have to do the dot instead of the colon. That's just the way it is. I'm going to say draw and equals. I'm going to say require, and this is going to be the draw module. Sorry, this should have been in quotations. Okay, so I've put it there. I haven't made the module yet. So what I've done is I've deleted it, but copied it at the same time. So it's kind of a cut. And I'm going to create this file now. I pressed A on the NVim tree over here on this side over here. If I press A, I'm going to make draw.lua. Then I'm going to open that file up, and I'm going to paste it with P. Well, I thought I was going to, but let's go back to clock, and I'm just going to undo. So we got the function back again. I'm just going to yank this function. And in here, there we go. So what I'm going to do here is we have to change it a little bit. It's going to be local function draw. And since I'm using self in here, I need to explicitly put self here. Okay. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to return it. This is going to be return draw. And don't do it this way. Just return draw like this. Okay. Now it's complaining it doesn't have access to this global. This is going to turn into a self later on. But right now, just to get it working, I'm just going to bring it in. So the digit size is 72. I'm just going to recreate it here. This is actually going to go away later. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to recreate it. So digit, and I think it's just 72. Okay, so that is there. Let's go back to clock and fix it, because I'm just going to re-undo, which is Control R. There we go. So if I've done this all correctly, I should be able to run it, and it should just run like it was running before. Okay, it looks good. It looks like I didn't break anything. So I've just made another module file that just contains a function. It creates a function, it returns it, and I'm just adding a method onto clock, which is the function that gets returned from this module. This is requiring the module that is returning the function, so that returned function gets stored right here in draw. So I just basically took the function from here and put it into another file. I want to have the ability to draw not just the rectangles, but draw numbers. So we already know how to draw love.graphics.print, right? But we do need to load a font. So in the main file, or in the clock, I'm going to be loading, and this is going to get moved around later as well, but just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to say local font equals love.graphics new font. Now we need the font name and size, so it's in the fonts. It's over here, right up here. We're going to use free sans bold true type font TTF. That's the one we're looking for. You could change this out with whatever font you like to use. And I'm going to put a constant here. I'm going to call it font size. Okay, which doesn't exist yet, so we need to create that as well. And I'm actually going to have this be just the same size as the digit. Oops. So it's going to be 72 as well. Okay, so we have created this local variable called font, and I'm going to set it now. Love.graphics. And this is going to set to the font that Love is using. Set font. And we'll just put that local font in here that we created. Okay, so that's just loading a font and setting it. So now that we have a font loaded, we've talked about this in prior videos, so this shouldn't be anything new to you. I'm going to go over to the draw. So we're going to call this option whether we want to use rectangles or whether we want to print numbers. We're going to have this based on a theme, if it's theme 1 or theme 2. So I'm going to say if self dot theme equals 1, then so we obviously don't have this yet. We're going to need to create this. So if that is true, we want to draw the rectangle. I'm just thinking about where to put this. We need an else, and then we need an end. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to indent these because of this if statement. And now we want to actually put in the printing. So we're going to use love graphics print. Okay, so love graphics print. And what I want to do is I want to just print 1. Okay, but we still need to print this the way that we need to put this in the same place that we were doing this. So we still need to use this this up here. We need to use this same thing. So I'm going to put a comma, and then I'm also going to paste this in. So it looks like it's out of order. That's fine. We'll just fix it. see if we can save this, and it's still okay. So we have love, and we are printing 1, and then we are putting the X position. We are putting the Y position. What have I done here? Love graphics print. All correct. 1 comma. Yep. Then we have the X coordinates, comma, Y. Maybe it doesn't like this comma. Oh, it didn't like the second comma. Usually in a table, you can put a comma at the end of everything, but because this is arguments to this method call, it didn't like that. So we're actually going to see that these numbers are not really centered. We'll just see that in a second here. They're not really centered. So let's just do this. This is for the hours. I'm going to put them on all of them. Of dot underscore theme equals 1, then hopefully if I save this, it's going to fix it up. Okay, and I'm going to put it down here, last one, same thing. I'm just doing the same. I'm putting the first line in and then pasting in the last bit. Self dot underscore theme equals 1, then, and so that's on here, and after the end, because this is all going to move in, I'm going to put the rest of it that I've already, so that's going to readjust it. Okay, so we don't have this yet, the theme, so we need to create that, or it's not going to like that at all. So I'm going to, and here I'm just going to add it to the clock table. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, it's just easier to add here. Theme equals 1. Don't need to create the method call yet. That changes it. So I'm going to set it to 2. Because 1 should be the rectangles. So 2 should be numbers. At least the ones. Let's see what happens here. Okay. We got a bunch of 1s, but it's not correct. I already know the mistake I made. When I was pasting in the draw, when I was pasting them in, I didn't change the rectangles that it's the first one here should be hours. That's true. The next one here should be minutes. So it should be the minutes recs that it's getting for the positions, and the last one should be seconds. Okay, so let's check it again. Okay, and it's just full. Yeah, I think I've put the kind of the if statement in the wrong spot. Yeah, it should be inside of it. Oh, this is wrong. This else is in the wrong spot. I'm going to get rid of this else and put another end here. There we go. Basically, if something is supposed to be drawn in this spot, then we choose whether it's a box or whether it's a 1. So over here, I'm just going to move this end and add another end over here to change the shape of this. There we go. And in the last one, same thing. I'm going to remove this end, then add another one here. Let's see if that improved things. Not looking good. Oh, the outside should be checking. Yeah, I'm totally messing this up. I'm sorry. The outside should be checking. Anybody following around with this is probably thinking, what is this guy doing? Okay, so I should be checking if this should be drawn or not. And then if it should be drawn, I'm doing the theme. I'm checking the theme. So I've probably messed it up here. I'm checking theme first. I should be checking if the minute bit should be drawn, and then deciding which theme to use. So I'm going to put this on the inside of this. I think I did it right on the hours, but then I messed the other two up. So hours is correct. I'm checking the hour, then checking the theme. So then I should be checking the minute, then the theme inside of that, checking the second, and then the theme inside of that. Okay, that looks better. So the seconds are working correctly. It looks like the minutes there and the hours there. Because of what time it is right now, that looks correct. And we can, yeah, it's 1:32. So that represents a 32. That represents a 1. And this is the seconds. It's 1, 2. Yeah. Okay, so we have this set up. I actually want to show, draw the zeros as well, but then we get into the colors. So let's first just be able to toggle this on and off, and then we'll get to the colors. So we're going to make a function or a method that is going to allow us to enable or disable not the colors, the theme. Yeah, the set theme. Okay. Let's go into clock. We have show time, and then we have toggle color. So after show time, we're going to set the theme. So function, clock, set theme. And this is going to take a number, a 1 or 2, which is going to be the theme. And I'm just making this simple. I'm just going to say if it's a 1, set it to 1. If it's a 2, set it to 2. I'm going to put the if on both of them, or the if and else if. So any other random number coming into this will not set my internal to a wrong number. It's either going to set it to 1 or 2 or nothing else. If any other information that comes in, it's just going to ignore it. So if theme equals 1, then self theme equals 1. Yeah, pretty straightforward. And then we'll do an else if theme equals 2, then self underscore theme equals 2. And that's pretty much it for that. Now we're going to put it over at this, we're going to put it in main. And the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to put this on the 1 and the 4, because 1, 2, and 3 are going to change the shape of the clock. And then 4, 5, and 6 are going to be the same as 1, 2, and 3, except they're going to be with numbers instead of blocks. So I'm going to just, since we're doing just the one shape right now, I'm going to do 1 and 4. So in main right here, if key equals, we'll say 1, then, why is this? Oh, this should be an else if. We're going to set the clock colon set theme to 1. And it says we have a trailing space. And I'm going to do the same thing for 2, or 4, sorry. Key equals 4. This will make more sense later because it'll be 1 through 6, but 1 and 4 are going to be the same, but with different either rectangles or numbers. Theme, and we'll say that this one is theme 2. Okay, so if I put 1, I have boxes, and if I put 4, have the numbers. Okay. Now I really want it to have zeros, and I want the boxes to also have kind of like dark gray boxes where the zeros would be. And for the ones, I want to have dark gray zeros, you know. So, but we need to dive into colors. Now I want to show you the way that you can use, so the colors in Lua go from 0 to 1 as a floating point or a double. They go from 0 to 1, but the old style used to use 0 to 255. So if you are trying to use from 0 to 255, you can use this Love Math color from bytes. And you can put RGB or RGB alpha, either way. You don't have to put the alpha. You can put these in the numbers that go from 0 to 255, and it'll convert it for you to the other range. So it's going to take these 0 to 255, and it's going to give you out the 0 to 1 range. And since I'm going to use the Capuchin color theme, I'm going to use this so that I don't have to convert and do all the math. I don't really care. I just want to use it. So I'm going to use this the GitHub Capuchin theme, and I'm going to go down to the Mocha theme. I'm going to use some of these colors here. So I'm going to create another function called toggle color, and I'm going to have two sets of colors. So in clock, under the theme one right here, function, and this one's going to be clock toggle color. And what we want to do is set up either kind of a black, like a gray, a light, not totally white and not black, but like a light color and a dark gray color for black and white. And then for the color version, we want to set up a rainbow of colors. So this is a toggle, so I'm going to be checking the state of it and just going to whatever the other state is. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, is going to check the toggle. If self color, then, so if it's set to true, or if it's set to true, I'm going to fall inside this one where I'm going to set it to false. Else I'm going to set it to true, as a normal toggle would work. So self.color, and I'm going to make this false. So if it was true, inside of this if statement, I'm going to set it to false. On the else, I'm going to set it to true. So that's toggling it, but also when we toggle it, we want to set some colors up. I'm going to go self colors as a table. And what I want to do in here is I want to put the colors, but I'm going to use the older style, the 0 to 255. So I'm going to be using that Love Math color from bytes. And I'm going to hold it in a table. So I could just put it in a table here. I could put my 1, 1, 1, and that would be white. But the other way I could get white would go love.math color from bytes, not 2 bytes, but from bytes. Now, if I were to put in here 255.255.255, I would end up with the same thing. This would turn this into 111, and that would be in this table. See if it's going to space it out for me. Yeah. So, but I'm not using this number. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use 224 and for the light color, and 3-1 for the dark color. 3-1 is 3-1, 3-1, 3-1 is going to be not quite black. It's going to be dark. And 224 is going to not quite be white, but it's going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to set this to 224. Oops. And I just need to duplicate this a couple times. And so what I want is I want 8 of these, but then the 9th one I want to be the other color. There's a reason why I'm doing this. And for the black and white, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the color for each, just like I'm indexing into a table for the position, the X and Y for each of the numbers or the squares. I'm going to do it for the color as well. So for black and white, it doesn't matter because I'm only using 2 colors. But for the colors, I can change them to make it a rainbow of colors. So I can use the same code either way if I just make multiple of the black and white one. It'll make sense in a second here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we need an 8. So now on the 9th one, this is going to be the darker color. So I'm going to put 31, which is the inverse of 2, 2, 4. Okay, so that's going to be the colors that are set if it's on this one. But what happens if we want the color ones? So I'm just going to kind of copy this. Self colors. And what we need to do is we need to start grabbing some colors. So it looks like that one's pretty bright color. So I'm going to grab this. I used rose water. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use rose water as my first one. So I'm just going to copy these. So here's rose water right there. So the next color is going to be red. And then I'm going to go orange, yellow, green. It says peach here. That's my orange color as far as yeah, that is the color I'm using. And then the yellow color. And green. And then we're going to use this teal color and then to blue. So because it does look different enough. So I'm going to use this teal right here. Then we're going to blue. And the very last one will be the purple, whatever the purple is called, is it mauve or something? That gives us the colors, but now we want this darker color here. And so what I'm going to use is the base color. So down here, here's base. I'm going to use this color right here. Okay, so we have 2 different colors set up in a toggle. These colors will be held in a table called colors. So it's the same colors. So we're just swapping the colors out is what we're doing. So now if we go into draw, here we're setting the color up here, but we don't really need to do this. What we need to do is we need to set it, oh, this becomes even more complicated. So we are going to move it from here. And I'm going to set it inside of here. We know that this is true. I'm going to set it, and I'm going to set it based on the index. Because we got these colors, we have 8 colors and a dark color. So assuming this is one of the bright colors, I'm going to use the index here. So it's self.colors. Yeah, self.colors I. So we'll just use the index. I'm also going to put this in each of these here. Whoops. Okay, so that is for hours. I'm going to do it again for minutes. And for seconds. Now notice that I'm setting the color in here because I'm actually going to set another color. This is going to become more complicated. So here, this is going to give us our colors, and it's not going to look quite right, but I'm just going to try it out. And I've messed something up. Okay, let's check it out. Attempt to index field colors, nil value. Okay, the reason why we're getting this is because we made a function that sets up these colors, yeah? But we've never called it yet. So, so this table doesn't actually exist yet. So we have to call this. We need to set the up here. We need to do a self, colon, and we can just toggle the color. We can also set up the toggle in main down here, and we can put it on a key. And we'll just say the C key for color. We'll say clock, toggle color. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I'm going to toggle the color. Yeah. And yeah. So now we can set it black and white, or we can set it to numbers. Now, I actually don't like, well, we'll notice this in a second when we get our background stuff in. But we've noticed that the 1 is further away here from the edge than it is over here. Because we need to offset, the 1 is kind of in the same X that the rectangle gets drawn in, or same square that the rectangle gets drawn in. But the 1 is being drawn to the left side of that. So we need to give it a little offset. So let's fix that. And I think that is going to be in draw, actually. So I'm going to put a font offset. And I think it's, I just trialed and errored it, but I believe it was the same as double of what the border was. So that our border right now is 8. So it's going to be like 16. And again, that was just, I just tried numbers out till it looked best. It should be 8, but we're making everything twice as big right now, so it's going to be 16. So if I go to where we're using the print on the X line right here, I'm just going to add. I'm going to add the font offset with a plus. And down here, add the same. That should just move over the text a bit. So now the distance here is similar to the distance here. Okay, So what I really wanted to do is, you can see here where we're getting ones, but we're not getting zeros. And I would like the zeros to be drawn as well, but I want the zeros to be like darker. And if we change to the boxes, I want a dark box where the zeros would be the same. So basically this exact same thing that we have happening here, I want this exact same thing to happen, except I also, I wanted to, this is checking if it's true, but on the else, I'm going to yank this whole thing and I'm going to add an else in here. So in this very first statement up here, if hours is true, if the hour should be marked for that index, it's drawing it. It's filling in a box or drawing a 1. But if it's not true, I want it to draw a dark box or to draw 0. So it's mostly the same code, so I'm just going to paste it in. But here, the color is not going to be the index color. It's going to be the 9th color, which is the dark color. And we are still drawing a filled box, but here we're going to put a 0 instead of a 1. I think that's all we need to change for that. So that's pretty good. I'm going to just do the same here. I'm just going to yank this and then put an else. And the color again is going to be 9th color. And this is going to be a 0. And this is minutes, just like that. Yeah, that's minutes. Okay, for seconds, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm just yanking the stuff that is inside of this if statement. So all of this down here. And the color is color 9. And this is going to be a 0. Okay, so now we have ones that are lit up with the colors, and the zeros are just that darker color, that much darker color, the base color. The background is actually just pure black, and that's the base color. If we toggle color, this is black, pure black, and here is the 31, 31, 31, and this is the 254, 224, 224, 224 for the almost white color. And with the blocks, there we go. And here's the color version. Okay, so that kind of sets up. Now we're that's why I pulled out draw into its own file, because that it ends up being 120 lines long. So I'm going to put the theme back to the 1. I think that's better. I think that's everything for this video. So basically what we added the ability to change a theme. So we just put a theme as 1, and there is a setting of the theme here that can either be 1 or 0, and we've linked that up into the main file here, where we can press keys 1 or 4, because 1, 2, and 3 is going to be theme 1, and 4, 5, and 6 will be theme 2. So right now it's just 1 and 4. And then we're drawing it. We've added either a box if it's theme 1. If it's not theme 1, we're going to assume it's theme 2, and we're going to print instead of 1 with an offset to make that number. And if this isn't even a thing, we're just almost doing the exact same thing again, but with the darker colors and a 0 instead of a 1. So that is on all of them. And this is just a module by itself that we are just creating a function and returning that function. And it's being captured. This function is being stored in clock draw. And when we do call this, we're calling it with a colon, because it does need to pass in its own name for the self. So that kind of deals with the drawing. Then we have the colors. So these colors here are just 31 less than 255. And we'll cover why there's 8 of them in a second here. And then the 9th color is the dark color. Here we've used the rainbow of colors, and we've used the base color as the dark color. And this is in the colors because when we draw it, we're indexing the color. And you'll notice now that we're not setting the color one time up here. We're setting it whenever something is true. We're setting the color to the bright or the foreground draw color. Whenever it's not true, we're setting it to the dark color, which is 9. And we're doing that for each of them. If this minute index is true for this part of the loop, we're setting the foreground color. If it's not true, we're using the background color. That's a way for us to use the colors. That's why there is 8 shades of the same color for the black and white one. That's so it can just, the same code can work and we can just index into it even though it's the same color over and over again. So when we call the toggle from main, right here, this toggle color, it's going to, whatever the color is, if color is set to true, it's going to switch it to false and set up the black and white colors. And if it's false, it's going to set it to true and set up the color colors. And because they're setting them up, we need to call it in load, or this color table doesn't exist at runtime. This doesn't get created until we've called this method, so that we do need to call it here in load. So that table does exist that's being called. Okay, I think that's going to be everything for this video. I have one more video where instead of having the up and down one, we're going to have 3 different layouts instead of just this one layout. And we'll also be able to toggle the size from the small size to the large size. Okay, so that's going to be everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed that or was entertaining, and have a good day. Bye.